Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the online sessions on the title of Challenges on Teaching and Learning during COVID pandemic 19. My name is Tinsiri Siribodhi, and I'm the committee member of Princess Mahachakri Award Foundation. I'm very happy to be your host today. For today, the session, there will be a translation or interpretation. If you look at the bottom of the monitor, you'll see an icon which say interpretation. You can select the channel to listen to นะคะสำหรับคุณครูไทยนะคะวันนี้จะมี2ภาษา3ภาษาเลยนะคะภาษาอังกฤษภาษาไทยแล้วก็ภาษาบาฮาซาอินโดนีเซียท่านสามารถที่จะดูจากหน้าจอด้านล่างนะคะจะมีเครื่องหมายที่เป็นลูกโลกนะคะท่านสามารถที่จะกดที่ลูกโลกแล้วก็เลือกช่องฟังได้นะคะว่าจะฟังช่องภาษาบาฮาซาภาษาอังกฤษหรือว่าภาษาไทยเรามีล่ามแปลให้ตลอดนะคะขณะเดียวกันก็ทางทินสิริเองก็จะพยายามพูดสรุปให้ท่านด้วยนะคะแล้วก็ท่านใดที่มีคำถามนะคะเราก็จะเปิดโอกาสให้ถามตอนช่วงท้ายนะคะก็ที่ chat box ก็พิมพ์ได้นะคะ for the session today there'll be, like I mentioned, there's a translator provided available, and we would like to open the floor for question and answer at the end of the session. Okay? For this special event today is hosted by the Princess Mahachakri Award Foundation, and we're very happy to bring you or share with you the experience from teachers from two countries, and these teachers are they're the top of or the best in their own country. We bring you experience from Brunei Darussalam and Timor-Leste. And as you know, everyone have to face the challenge in COVID because of the COVID-19. So now let's hear from them how they try to cope or how they try to help their students to overcome the challenge themselves and the students. For today's session, we have 3 very special ladies from Brunei Darussalam and 1 remarkable lady from Timor-Leste. So the presentation will be into 2 rounds. We would like you to hear first from Brunei Darussalam, from the 3 ladies from Brunei, and then later on we will move to Timor-Leste. So if you're ready, please join me. Let's go online to go to Brunei Darussalam, or the ladies from Brunei will come meet you at your own home. Is that so? While Ratna is on her way, maybe there are some difficulties. She's not yet here. So let's hear from the second lady from Brunei Darussalam. She is Mrs. Lim Soh Ngo. Hi, Soh Ngo.
Hi, Dr. Tinsiri. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Mrs. Lim Soh Ngo, I'd like to give a little bit of introduction before you start your presentation. Mrs. Soh Ngo, she is a teacher who specializes in science, and she teaches a gifted school in Brunei Darussalam. Even though she's now, she received a Princess Mahachakri Award in 2017. Now she's retired, but she's still active and helping support teachers in Brunei. So if you're ready, can you start to share with us your experience and challenge that the teacher in Brunei Darussalam have faced, and then we can open the floor for discussion after all the presentation. All right, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to share with you the challenges and adaptation to teaching and learning amid COVID-19 situation in Brunei. When the first case of COVID-19 was confirmed on the 9th of March 2020, Brunei government immediately announced the temporary closure of schools and higher institutions on the following day, which was like 1 week before our term 1 holiday commenced. Social distancing measures were being imposed very strictly. Then on the first day of our second school term, which was 30th of March 2020, in order to ensure continuity in teaching and learning processes, Ministry of Education implemented distance learning initiative, which include online learning and also learning via home learning packages for those who have no internet access at home or those who lack digital learning devices. The whole nation approach taken by Brunei government has proved to be very effective, and very soon Brunei started to record 0 cases of local infection. So we are able to break the chain of infection very quickly. Hence, by 2nd of June, schools and higher institutions were partially opened, where different group of students returned to schools on different days of the week. Then, starting from July 27, 2020, all schools and higher institutions started to operate normally. However, schools and higher institutions are still following the SOP, which is a standard operation procedure given by the government, very, very strictly. For my presentation today, I would like to focus on 3 areas. First, I would talk about the challenges faced by the community, in particular teachers, students, and parents, and how they adapt to the new norm. I would also like to touch on the appropriate measure taken by the Ministry of Education to reduce disruption in teaching and learning. Lastly, I would like to share with you the transformation which was observed in our students, teachers, and parents. With the new norm in teaching, not only the teachers and students, but also the parents, they were all highly stressed by having to adapt to the new situation within the shortest time possible. Next, unstable internet connection seems to be one of the largest or greatest issue hindering online teaching and learning processes. This is especially so when almost everyone was working from home and almost everyone was working online. So Ministry of Education, in collaboration with Ministry of Transport and Information Communication, took the initiative to increase the internet speed and improve its connectivity. Other challenges include lack of digital learning devices for students and computer illiteracy for some teachers, students, and parents. Now, online learning may be self-directed for students at secondary school level or also students from higher level of institution. But this is not easy for students of younger age. So with this group of students, parental guidance is of extremely important. For this, many parents were actually highly stressed, especially if they were computer illiterate or they lack knowledge on the subject matter. As for our teachers, many of them were highly stressed by having to prepare teaching and learning resources in digital format or from scratch. And they will also need to prepare relevant tasks, which will enable students to work independently with minimum guidance. Of course, loss of curriculum time is another thing that stresses up the teacher, which will mean slowing down the syllabus coverage. And lastly, loss of social interaction seems to have increased the stress level for all parties. Before COVID-19 pandemic, even though the use of online educational platform was not new to many, but its utilization wasn't very common. However, due to the suspension in physical classroom teaching and learning, all educators and students were forced to embrace technology and started to explore the different platforms that can be used for online learning. At first, there was lots of self-exploration and lots of collaboration among students and also among teachers. But eventually, everything comes to light. Home learning packages were also prepared to reach out for those who have no internet access at home or who did not have the learning devices This actually doubled up the workload of the teachers. Arrangement has also been made for home learning educational program to be broadcasted for younger age students to enhance learning processes. Ministry of Education, in collaboration with telecommunication agencies, provided affordable internet data packages for teaching and learning processes. As I have mentioned earlier, parents of younger age students need to provide sufficient guidance and work closely with the schools to monitor their children's progress so as to ensure successful learning outcome. This makes it very difficult for some parents, and they have to adapt by playing different roles now. In addition, as playing their role as a parent, also, if they're working parents, they have to play their role as employee in their workplace. Now, the third role is to play their role as a teacher at home. And most of the time, the parents were stressed out by not knowing what to do, especially if they lack subject matter. So they have to spare enough time or they have to spend enough time to monitor their children, and also extra hours to learn together with them if they are not sure about the subject matter themselves. Now, due to the loss in curriculum time, in Brunei, conventional assessment were fully converted into 100% continuous assessment. As we all know, the pandemic lasted longer than expected, and it continued to develop in unpredictable pattern. Now, the uncertainty in the spread of COVID-19 continue to challenge education sector, and there's worries that, or there's concern that there might be second wave hitting the country. Hopefully not. So, Ministry of Education advise our teachers and students to be always mentally and physically prepared. For this, teachers were advised to prepare their digital teaching and learning resources in advance. They are encouraged to attend workshops on the use of technologies. They were also advised to reflect on their pedagogies and share their best practices and lessons learned from the experience. In addition, parents were advised to continue to support Ministry of Education's initiative and work closely with them for the benefits of all. Even though COVID-19 has caused disruption in teaching, a dramatic transformation has been observed where education is concerned. It was observed that technology started to play a pivot role in teaching and learning processes in Brunei. Our teachers become more resilient, dynamic, and proactive in diversifying teaching approaches. Parents become more open-minded, embrace technology, and more supportive with Ministry of Education's initiative. Our students also become more proactive and more independent learners. And teaching style gradually shifted from teacher-centered to student-centered. With this transformation and the development of the new set of skills, it was hoped that our students and teachers will be more future ready for any uncertainties. As a conclusion, even though COVID-19 has caused a sudden disruption in teaching and learning, it seems that our students, teachers, and parents, they were able to adapt to it quicker than anticipated. It was also found that structured blended learning helped to build up competency in our students and make them better learners. They are more skilled and prepared in progression towards facing the global digital revolution. It stimulated our educators to be more collaborative, innovative, dynamic, resilient, adaptable, and creative. Finally, it's believed that the role of modern teacher is to be a leader in leading changes and continue to create learning opportunities. With this, I end my session. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Soh Ngo. Thanks for sharing the experience of Brunei Darussalam in your context. Before I summarize a little bit of your session, I would like to welcome the teacher who are just joining us for this session. Welcome you all again who have just joined us at this online seminar hosted by Princess Mahachakri Award Foundation. And this is a special series of the seminar which the foundation will host every 2 weeks to bring you experience of teachers from 11 countries who are the best of their own area and share with you their lessons and their practices to benefit all of you. ยินดีต้อนรับท่านที่เข้ามาใหม่นะคะเดี๋ยวที่สักนะคะ so I'm sorry I'm just gonna toggle the Thai and English สำหรับท่านที่เพิ่งเข้ามา for the one who have just joined us we have the toggle of the interpretation at the bottom of the screen. If you want to hear Thai, the translation, you can choose Thai language and you will hear Kun Antima or Kunam is now doing the translation for you, and I would do the English or sometimes switch between Thai and English. And later on, we will have Bahasa Indonesia for you. So the PowerPoint, what we have just heard from Mrs. Soh Ngo, a first experience from Brunei Darussalam. I have 3 reflections from your presentation, Soh Ngo. Thank you very much for sharing this. 3 reflections. One is that I learned that the experience of the teacher in Brunei, they have transformed into a more resilient, more flexible adjustment to the new changes because of COVID.
Yes.
Yes. So that's the first one. Even though at first they're frustrated and a lot of stress, but they adjusted to the
finally, yeah,
resilient. So the second point that I learned from your presentation is that now the teaching has changed into student center. Before that, it was more like teacher center. Now student center, because teacher have to find ways to get the student to learn. So put the student interest comes first. So that's the second point that I get from your reflection, from your view. And the third part is that with all these challenges, the situation, nice thing comes out of it. Positive thinking is that people develop a new skill. You mentioned that both teacher students develop the new skill so that they are prepared for the digital world, the new global world. To be able to function, they have to adjust. So develop a new skill. That is a very important message that the teacher will have to see in a positive thinking, despite all the challenge that they have. Okay, so 3 good points that we have. So thank you again, and I'll come back to you later on, and then we'll do some more reflection and asking more questions. I like to now move on to another example or experience from Brunei Darussalam. And I think I'll go back to Miss Ratnawati. Ratna, can you hear me? If you hear me, can you please send me some signal?
Yes.
Great, wonderful, you're here.
So, I'm sorry because I have a problem with my Wi-Fi is unstable just now.
That's okay. Everyone, it's a new learning experience. I'm also new to this too. So everyone's new. So we're all learning together. Technical difficulty is part of our life.
I was so panicked just now.
So that is something that we have to overcome the challenge. Everybody does that. So that's good. So thank you. So I know now you're ready to share with us your experience. But before you do that, while you're bringing up your PowerPoint presentation, let me introduce you to the group. Ms. Ratnawati is a Princess Mahachakri Award recipient of 2015. Her area of expertise is helping students with special needs, and she's in charge of a learning center to help the students with special needs in Brunei Darussalam. in the context of challenge with COVID, we looking at students who are like regular students, but we sometimes forget how do we take care of students with special needs. So let's Miss Ratna share with us her experience and how she helped the students to bridge their learning gap while they're at home and the school closed. So Ratna, the floor is yours. Please share your PowerPoint presentation. And if you have difficulty in sharing your
Can you help me with my PowerPoint, please?
Yes. Dr. Julakon, could you please help open the Ms. Ratna PowerPoint presentation? All right. While we're waiting, we can chat a little bit while the technician team or the Dr. Julakon team is now helping.
Can you please help me with my PowerPoint, please?
Yes.
My PowerPoint.
We will. We're working on it. But while we're working on it, let me chat with you. Okay.
Okay.
This is the PowerPoint of Mama Lu. Please, this is not the right PowerPoint. Change to a different one. See, everybody's learning.
Yeah.
No problem. Let's go by the flow. Have fun with it and enjoy.
Because no one is helping me here.
No problem.
I'm alone, yes.
I'm with you.
Can you hear me?
We have about 130 people from Southeast Asia with you. You're not alone. We were, even though you're there alone in your house, but we have, look at the participant, 130 from not only Thailand, from many countries in Southeast Asia. So while we're waiting for the technician to come and help you.
Yes. Dr. Tinsiri,
yes, Dr. Benjalak.
Yes, while waiting for the PowerPoint, I just would like to.
Is it okay now?
Dr. Benjalak, say something first. I'll check with the technician.
Right. Just want to have a short greeting with all your Ratnawati and all the Brunei PMCA teachers, and also Timor-Leste, because we are looking forward to hear what happened in those two countries, and I will be listening, follow up with you. Okay. Yeah.
This is Lim Soh Ngo. This different one. This is Mrs. Lim. This is a different PowerPoint. Sorry. How many students? While the technicians searching for your PowerPoint, how many students in your learning center now? Ratna?
Yes.
How many students? How many students in your learning center?
Oh.
Do you need help with sharing the PowerPoint?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
No problem with.
Let us help you on that.
Okay.
Let's try to get the PowerPoint. While we're getting the PowerPoint sorted out, let's chat, and can you share with us without the PowerPoint for the time being? This is Noorliah, different one. So maybe what we can do so that we will make it less stressful for you, Ratna, because I know I know how it feels, because I'm a presenter too and sometimes have difficulty with PowerPoint. Let me make it less stressful for you.
Okay.
We'll come back to you and we'll have you do the PowerPoint presentation later. Let's the technical team sort out that with you. But let me go to Noorliah. I know Madam Noorliah is ready. She's the school principal and she's always ready on the go. Hi, Noorliah. Open your microphone and say hi.
Okay, hi everyone.
See, she's always ready. She's a great example of a school leader. All right. Now, before we go to Ratna again, so Noorliah, but let me introduce you to the audience. We now have about almost 150, yes, but audience from many countries in Southeast Asia. So welcome you all. So Madame Noorliah, she is the Princess Mahachakri Award recipient of 2019, and her area of expertise is also in charge of schools, which is an inclusive school. Inclusive school means that the school is not only take care of the regular students, but also take care of students with special needs. But this is in the context of how the school leaders, school principal, taking care of the teacher to ensure that the teacher will include the student with special need in the regular system with the others, and to ensure that the student themselves get all the things that they need. So a very nice way of school management during the challenge of COVID-19. So Noorliah, so if you're ready, you can start share your PowerPoint and then share with us your experience as a school leadership. Yes, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to say thank you to Princess Mahachakri Foundation for giving me this opportunity. Okay, as currently, as Madam told us that Brunei situation is under control. The COVID-19 pandemic, COVID-19. But we still following the substandard operation procedure as advised by Ministry of Education. So, however, we will still uncertain of the future. So I like to focus on the importance of digital literacy during the pandemic. Okay. First, the introduction. Oh my, sorry. Okay. The pandemic COVID-19 has a huge impact on the norm of lifestyle of every person throughout the globe. Meanwhile, here in Brunei Darussalam, the virus COVID-19 was first detected and impacted the life of Bruneian on the 3rd March 2020. So the MOE drastic measures and action were taken to certain the spread of pandemic COVID-19. Therefore, upon deliberation and collaboration with various agencies and ministry, on the 11th March 2020, the Ministry of Education decided to close down the school early before the first term holiday. Now, what are the approaches while the school closed down? Teachers all over Brunei have contemplate, respond, and become accustomed to the SOP ordered by the Ministry of Health. And this was the beginning of a new era, a new way of teaching, a new approach and strategies needed to be implemented that bring teaching to a new level. This new level was created, new interpretation of teaching at home by using technologies, by adapting various applications and websites. It was a relevant methodology and pedagogy to be implemented in 2020. So why I always say about 2020, because this 2021, we are less challenges. So I just recall from our previous problem. Okay, now, before the school reopened, the pandemic COVID-19 period, there were various briefings on the online interface was conducted by the school leaders. This is where I'm the school leaders, very important task for me, where I have to using online interface was conducted by me as a school leaders, and then the school committee during the school holiday to prepare and support teachers to prepare for the school reopen. Okay, now let's see the next slide. As Dr. Tinsiri mentioned just now that my school is inclusive. For information, I have about 50 students, special needs students in my school out of 550 students in 2020 now, 2021. So I think I'm going to touch or explain the challenges experienced during the pandemic, zoom into my special education student. Okay, this is how the special education affected. If you can see here, the some of the what I mean is the effects was also felt by students with special needs. Okay, so and special education needs assistant teacher, including in model inclusive school in my school. This was felt as the second term of school began on 2nd June 2020. My senior teachers try to use using numerous strategies to support and educate the student. If you can see here, by using home learning package and having them doing the task and uploading video to the privately or via group WhatsApp. Senior teachers in my model inclusive school were already well prepared with teaching online, with using various educational tools, applications, and educational websites, the use of WhatsApp, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, and much more to conduct their lesson via student. During those times, parents were actively involved in student learning at home. This slide shows some of my special needs students, where my senior teachers is conducted one by one teaching them online. Later, once the restriction was uplifted a little bit, students began to come to school once a week. As time goes by in 2021, this year, the situation is being under control. More students come back. Currently, the student attend school 3 days a week, just for the special student. For those normal students, they come every day except Friday and Sunday. However, the main standard operation procedure ordered by the Ministry of Health is still being followed by model inclusive building, that is for the special needs student, physical distancing in the building, practicing health and hand hygiene, cleaning and disinfecting the facilities inside the MIS building, and the action to be taken if a student shows symptom of flu and fever. Okay, this is the current situation in Brunei. Since there were no cases, most restrictions have been lifted, but we still maintain the standard operation and physical distancing. Now, what shall I do? Okay, where I take this opportunity as a school head, take this opportunity during face-to-face with student now, what to carry on? So I'm thinking that communication is very important. Take the previous what do you call that? Our experience when the lockdown, suddenly lockdown. Now I take the importance of maintaining and strengthening relationship and connectivity between students and teachers, administrators and teachers, and administrators. Teachers and families become a clear prosperity for many educational institutions. What I said this? Okay, let's see. Okay, so during face-to-face, the most important thing is support the teacher. As from myself, as a school leader support, I almost every day went to the classroom to help or to support my student. This is my special student. And then also ongoing, if I have time, especially during afternoon, have a meeting with my school team to what do you call, how to help or how to handle the situation if uncertainties will be happen. Okay, now, okay, and then to support the teachers as well. Okay, we also receive support from the EdTech Department of Ministry of Education. As the result, as you can see, 2020, 100% of the school teachers have gained Microsoft Innovative Educator or MIE status this year. During the training process, we underwent digital literacy courses. For the time being in Brunei, we are the only primary school received or awarded or achieved this certificate. And then also to support the teachers, how to carry out teaching and learning. We must have our professional development almost every week, which to show how teaching and learning using ICT. So by using peers and ICT teachers. And then apart from the teachers, parents are also exposed on how the teaching and learning are carried out using digital literacy. For example, if you can see here, we are showing some activities, invited parents into the classroom, showing or together with their kids, learn how teaching and learning using OneNote, Microsoft Teams, and so on. This is through our Parents Teacher Association program. This is a year 5 student, which digital classroom program is. Okay. Next, this is another group of parents, year 3 parents. We also invite parents come to school. Okay. Then again, this is another effort to expose parents is their involvement in the school teaching and learning program. And then we also expose students to local and regional programs last year and this year. Thank you, Mr. Zazat, which exposed us with this program. Okay, this shows them using Zoom and OneNote for communication. And then again, school continues to support students and also teachers. Even though schools are back to normal, I still advise teachers to use Zoom and OneNote for teaching and learning to replace face-to-face extra classes for year 6 students who are going to have public examination in this October. Okay, if this is one of the case study. If you can see, this is how the ICT support the student learning by using technology. And then this is another example of training student with ICT. Okay, this is Ministry of Education, Brunei, through EdTech Center is still supporting the Brunei students at my school by providing resources such as tablets to aid in their learning. Okay, so being well prepared. Okay, now in case lockdown suddenly, in case a total lockdown, teachers are well prepared due to the experience gained from previous pandemic situation. Then students are also prepared to learn through online interaction. Teachers and students are following SOP given and instructed by Ministry of Health. Be aware of fact information about COVID-19 that are feeding fear. Okay, to conclude, during the pandemic is the important role teachers play by ensuring that learning continues and that children will be able to continue education in safe and healthy environment. Okay, Not yet. I still continue. Okay, this is some ongoing procedure that I mentioned just now. Okay, still daily screening for body temperature, practicing hand hygiene, and then bring their own food from home, classroom cleaning by support staff, increase that spacing. Okay, this is provided by Ministry of Education, Brunei Ministry of Education. So even though there is a challenge last year, but our school showing the increase of public examination, especially to our maths, English and science. Only with few subjects, which is just a little bit a drop. Okay, what has been carried out until today? As you can see, we still, but this is not a must for them to use mask. Just if the parents still need their kids to cover or to use mask, okay, they have to. For us, it's okay in school. Okay, still ongoing, the security, check the temperature, and then encourage the teacher, maximize the teaching, their teaching and learning is by using the technology. Okay, then okay, to end this, if you can see here, okay, finally, if you want to be I can, if you want to create and be a visionary, you are probably going to be working with technology in some ways. This is the best quotation from me. Okay, to end this presentation, thank you so much for your attention.
Yes, thank you very much, Noorliah. Thanks for closing up with that slide. I can see the picture of Steve Curry. He's my favorite basketball player from Golden State Warriors. Yes, he's one of the best. So thanks again. Let's say the reflection. So if you can stop sharing your slides, and then we will do some bouncing of ideas.
Where did I stop it? Okay, hold on.
On the top of the screen, you'll see the green bar, and then you can, yes, great, wonderful. So we all learning, don't worry. So thank you very much, Noorliah. I'm learning too. So let's do some reflection from your presentation. I have three interesting points that you have shared with us in your context. First is that right away, you use communication as a strategy to connect with parents and teacher and students. That is a very good example of school leaders during the challenge. Talk to them, communicate with them, ensure that you are with them. So communication is the very important strategy for school leaders to connect. That is one. Second is that during the situation, you provide support to your teacher very well, particularly the students who are the special needs or the teacher. You train them, you work with them, particularly you train them on digital skills, because that seems to be the majority of the challenge of all the teacher, right? Yes, so that's the second point, that equip them with skills that they need so they can help the students. Get them equipped. And the third point that is a very nice example that many of the Thai teachers can use is that even though the situation in Brunei Darussalam, now you are back to the school, but you still prepare your students to learn online. Yeah. Because you foresee that what if there's happen of a lockdown, student can be prepared. So being a leader to look things in advance and try to prepare to help them. And the nice part on this third point on preparing your student is, I like your point when you said that when you help the student, you also train them how to look at fake news. so that they will not be too fear of some fake news or misled information about COVID. Yes, so that is important because sometimes social media can be overwhelmed, and then we're so panicked. And now Bangkok is on the fourth wave, so we're like we're locked in and we're all frustrated. So a good point that at least we're together, and we also have to cope with all these misinformation or fake information to see which one is good and which one is selective reading. Thank you very much, Noorliah. So those are the 3 points. But before we move on to Ratna, I'm sure she's ready this time. Before you share your screen, Ratna, I have a request from Dr. Krishnapong to, now that we have about 135 teachers who are with us, so we would like to take a group picture first. So Ratna, if you can stop sharing your screen for the time being.
Mana microphone kurun?
Okay, I can hear
okay
you.
But I can't see you.
Well, no problem. You can hear me. That's fine. I'm with you. Don't worry. And then later on, you can see me. I'm still as beautiful as you see me before. So don't worry.
Yes. You always look adorable.
Right. Okay. So, Ratna,
okay.
Before you start, let me introduce you a little bit once more, because we have audience coming from many countries in Southeast Asia, and we have a lot of them. So Ratna will share with us her experience helping students with special needs. The floor is yours, Ratna.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for the problems. So it's a great pleasure to be given this valuable opportunity to share my topic today is the challenges in managing, teaching and learning students with special needs during COVID-19. So in Brunei, actually, we are so blessed that the pandemic is not so serious compared to other countries. The first few months, the spreading of this virus in early 2020 made everyone panic. So personally, I myself felt panic too and unsure how to manage my teaching to my students with special needs. It is a new phenomenon for me, facing the world globally. So from it, we must face new norms in life as a whole. So in today's presentation, I will explain and share with you how our school managed the teaching and learning situation during COVID-19. It was in 2020. In 2021, we do our normal teaching face-to-face with our student only, but we just only follow the SOP as enforced by the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education. When COVID-19 was declared as a global pandemic on 11 March 2020, when COVID-19 was declared as a global pandemic on 11 March 2020, the government of His Majesty the Sultan provided prudent policy, a quick action. As a result, the situation in Brunei was brought under control quickly. So in June 2020, all schools in Brunei reopened with face-to-face teaching until present. So I believe that the global crisis caused by the COVID-19 not only delayed conventional teaching and learning, but also made the task of the teachers become more difficult, more challenging than before. So when we need to, where we need to adapt the new norms, that is teaching and learning online. If before, during our time, telecommunication devices such as handphone and online gadgets were prohibited from being brought to school. We are not allowed to bring handphone to school. So, but nowadays, the world of education changed 360 degrees into virtual world. So unlike most countries, in Brunei, no lockdown in the true sense was imposed in Brunei. Thus, school and university remain open. Students work from home and teachers work on a rotational basis from home and school. So as effort to mitigate the impact of COVID-19, the Ministry of Education embarked on integrating the use of technology and providing home learning pack material from school. beginning from 30th March 2020 until 6 June 2020, probably around 3 months. So with the initiative of our principal, we have conducted a survey for parents to find out the best way to teach our students with special needs during the outbreak. So from the findings of the study, majority of the parents agreed to use home learning package for their children rather than using online as recommended. So home learning package is actually one of the alternative option to facilitate all parties in communicating knowledge, especially to low-income families who do not have internet access and can afford to buy new devices for their children learning. So there are various efforts have been made by Ministry of Education to ensure learning can be continued. The action taken are, the Ministry of Education also provide guideline for home-based learning for students, teachers, and parents. This one is including the parents with children with special needs. So teachers also prepared the learning material for students who have no access to the internet and personal devices. So Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health also given us with a guideline on health measure and social distancing were made mandatory to all schools. In addition to this action, some teachers choose to work on alternative days or come only in the morning, while some schools set the number of teaching hours. Most schools had activated their own business continuity plan, or we call BCP, to safeguard the well-being of teachers and school staff by allowing this categorized as vulnerable. So including pregnant women, those who have a critical medical problem to work from home. To prevent the infection and the slow transmission of COVID-19 for staff, students, and parents, the school practices safety issues, as follows. So, for example, checking on body temperature and using QR code before entering school premises, and then advise everyone to wash their hand with water and soap, use sanitizer regularly, always wear a face mask, practice physical distancing, and avoiding big gathering activities at school, and stay at home as self-isolation if they feel unwell. So all school practice this, okay, same like Noorliah. So for every school use this kind of SOP for their safety issue. This is the metric de-escalation implementation for students with special needs. So this metric is carried out in stages. 4 stages actually. Every stages runs for 2 weeks until the 4th stages. So students will be allowed to attend school as usual, but they still have to follow the SOP in force. This table shows the purple table shows the metric implementation for students with special needs of secondary school and primary schools. There is no difference, as you can see, there's no difference in terms of scheduling. They are all sorted according to their priority level. You can see that mild for PL2, PL mean priority level, PL3 for the moderate, PL4 for the severe, and PL5 for the one who have multiple problems in health problems. So as you can see there, S2S mean study at school. Study at school. So for example, the mild one, they can attend school 4 times a week, while 1 day as the home-based learning. So same scheduling schedule given to the primary school. The picture in the slide shows how the HLP retrieval and return process is carried out. The HLP booklets were made available to students. So parents were able to collect them as weekly, on a weekly basis, and some teachers 2 weeks basis. This was to ensure that students who did not have access to digital devices would all receive their work. So parents are also required to sign the HLP form, and by following the SOP enforced. So all information, all queries, all questions about the task will be explained in WhatsApp group through videos or teaching manual that be given to the parents. Home-based learning for students with special needs. This is how my student with special need do their learning at home, while they didn't went to school for 3 months. So in this picture, we can see active involvement. Although it's we can see that the parents in helping the children's learning. When parents and children collaborate in learning activities, bonding between the parents and the children increases as they spend the time together, spend a lot of time together at home. So home-based learning lasts for 3 months. It is students were unable to attend school and stay at home. For some students, especially students with special needs, they consider this time as a vacation, from school. So hence they want nothing to do with the normal school-like routine. Instead, they want to sleep and wake up according to their own wish and spend the rest of the time playing video games, watching cartoons, movie, and eating anytime they want. So it's a bit uncontrollable by the parents, so it make the parents stress too. Okay, the lesson learned from the challenging situation. So I break it into two, readiness issue. So teacher had to implement online teaching instantaneously and had to prepare home-based teaching material. Thus, teachers were forced to be creative in both modes of delivery. So monitoring student performance was a challenge for teachers. So students also had to adapt a new way of learning. So primary school students needed parental guidance, and while the higher education student needed to be more self-directed in their learning, especially with parents, working parents. So due to this, due to many constraints, they had less time to support the learning of their children and also to monitor their progress. So the last point is the lack of skill in computer literacy was a major concern among parents. So the new era of COVID-19 somehow changed the world of education, become a huge challenge to teachers and parents. Therefore, teachers and parents need to improve their knowledge, their competency, their skill, their capability, and also they have to change their attitudes and preparedness to accept new norms in education. While in second issue is based on technical and curriculum issue. Working from home is not as happy as expected, okay? Parents and students also receive similar impact. So the lack of skill in computer literacy was a major concern among parents and teachers too. Yet, some families and teachers may struggle to provide support, such support, especially during COVID-19 crisis, because of a lack of time, insufficient digital skills, and lack of curricular guidelines. Okay, internet access is the main thing because not all parents can afford to have internet access at home to enable the teaching and learning process to be done effectively. So the student have to use their parents' mobile phone where they have to purchase data while accessing the internet. So they had to spend a lot to facilitate the communication. So in the last point, they were concerned that they were unable, I mean the teachers were concerned that they were unable to complete the syllabus. Thus, curriculum implementation must be flexible in terms of its approach and delivery. To solve the problem, curriculum department of the school, in every school, should identify the must-do component to be covered so that teachers do not panic and rush to finish the syllabus to be achieved by the end of the year. In this crisis time, when the teachers do not meet students physically, such rush would induce unnecessary stressful and anxiety among the teachers, students, and parents too. So, however, despite the limitation, this continuity of learning plan does not only involve the use of technology, but will also consider other alternatives which student can leverage on. Okay, as a conclusion, for X generation teacher like me, so I'm not good in in ICT skill. So, and those who did not grow up with the internet and the diversity of gadget like me, okay, now is the right time for me to upgrade myself with competency related to ICT skill. So parents began to appreciate, we can see that parents began to appreciate the effort of teachers in teaching their children at school. Why? Because they feel they have had the hard time teaching their children at home. So COVID-19 has been almost 2 years now, hit the wall. So I think it's not the new norm anymore. We have to get used to the norm that we are going through now. So my advice is to all teachers out there, just be patient and always think positive. We have to believe that there are always a silver lining behind this situation. So whatever tools that we use to convey our teaching, the important thing is we must always be patient because it requires a lot of learning, hard work, and we have to go through the experience to reach our life goal. So take care everyone and stay safe. Thank you. That's all.
Yes, thank you very much, Ratna. Thanks for the sharing of the reflection, particularly the positive thinking part at the end. I would like to summarize quickly for the audience about your presentation. Again, 3 points. A quick one is, from your experience, I learned that you have developed a home-based learning package for your students to bring home and use it. Okay, that is point number 1. Point number 2 is that before you develop your home learning package, you categorize the student according to their type of
quality level.
Yes, quality level. In that way, they can do it appropriately. Second point. The third point is that you communicate very well with the parents in many ways. WhatsApp, social media, video, and also verbal. So reaching out to help parents to help their students. So thank you for the 3 points.